The atmosphere here at the UK Music Hall of Fame is electric and eclectic. The mosh pit, a buzzing hive, a sweaty expectancy. 600 people rammed into a space officially only meant for 50. Shh, our secret. It's quite simply frottage heaven. Look at that. Already tonight, this stage has been graced by the sex machine that is James Brown, and still to come, Bon Jovi, Prince and Sir George Martin. But now it's time for our second induction of the evening. To tell us more, please welcome that rare thing in music, an articulate, intelligent drummer. From Hall of Fame inductees Queen, please welcome Roger Taylor.
Evening. Right. It's not about me, this is about Led Zeppelin. It's a great honour, because I love Led Zeppelin. 4 prodigiously talented musicians. They came together to dazzle and amaze with their own unique brand of dynamics and virtuosity. Magical combination of Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, underpinned by the best rhythm section around, John Paul Jones on bass, and the best rock and roll drummer in the world, John Bonham, sadly lost in 1980. The ferocious power and attack of the combination enabled the band to turn from a juggernaut into a dragonfly in a moment. They took the US by storm, ruling the stadiums of America, and remain the most popular act there to this day. All this, but still keeping out of the mainstream in the UK by refusing to release singles or appearing on Top of the Pops, which ironically used a bad cover version of A Whole Lot of Love for its theme tune. In short, they wrote the book and influenced thousands of bands to come. I know, because we nicked quite a bit from them. They don't make bands like this anymore. Britain should be proud of them, true legends. The magnificent Led Zeppelin. Let's have a look.
I'd like to introduce Led Zeppelin to you.
Whenever you hear a Led Zeppelin song, you can totally recognize it as soon as the vocals kick in.
Still never heard anyone sound like Robert Plant.
He had taken our own blues and twisted it 6 ways from Sunday.
The sex god with the glory of the halo around his head, you know, the hair. And you had, if I may say so, the son of the devil on guitar.
When Jimmy grabs hold of a riff, he makes it as powerful as possible. It's so explosive.
Amazing writer and an amazing producer. I think underrated as a producer still to this day.
It's just the way he produced it. It was just flawless. And don't fuck with perfection.
You had this amazing, complex pattern going on behind them from the rhythm section.
John Paul Jones, he was an amazing musician.
He's so important to Led Zeppelin and so underrated as his importance in Led Zeppelin. Just the opening bass line of Dazed and Confused alone, I mean, should ensure that he should never have to work again.
He was a runaway, brilliant bass player. And of course, if you put him together with John Bonham, who was the absolute most rock-solid drummer in the world.
In some bands, guitars is the thing, but in Zeppelin, the drums was the main power behind the band.
He was a machine.
It's just like a hurricane. It's insane.
All of the 4 elements together, well, they changed music.
They're a band that probably escaped genres and pigeonholing because of the variety of music that they put out.
I don't know how I'm gonna tell you.
They had a lot of very surreal Eastern sounds going on.
There was like a soul and an R&B feel.
There was a sort of a mixture of all sorts of stuff in there, even reggae.
And they took all these fantastic genres of music and put them together in a package that was just irresistible.
That's the way. Oh, that's the way it ought to be.
Led Zeppelin were one of the first supergroups that consisted of private planes, your limousines, your fleets of trucks to take the equipment around.
It was one of the first bands that was doing huge stadium tours without any real radio support. And they managed to create a fan base based on albums.
The records were just so fucking great. But I remember when In Through the Outdoor was coming out and the excitement that built up before that actually happened. And then the huge letdown when John Bonham died. That was such an integral part of Led Zeppelin that there was no rebuilding that.
That really shows that they really were a band. There was 4 frontmen, you know, in that band.
He was irreplaceable, and it has been to this day.
Led Zeppelin is an immovable force in music that will never be forgotten.
Let's put it this way. Can you imagine music without Led Zeppelin? Because I can't.
As far as breaking down barriers, they were as important as the Beatles.
They single-handedly invented a sound that made hard rock the way that we know it now, you know?
Well, I sort of don't trust anybody who doesn't like Led Zeppelin. You know?
To accept the award into the UK Hall of Fame, please welcome on behalf of Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page.
Well, I must say, it's a real honor. Just having glimpsed at that old footage, you know, it means so much to a lot of people and certainly to the band. You know, it was really great to have had such wonderful times. Believe it or not, we actually played in this building in the early 70s. And in those days, it was just a glass ceiling and it was absolutely unbelievably bad. But we played well, but it sounded bad, you know. There's just one thing I wanted to say for this evening, that there was another person that really helped us in our career in those days. And yeah, unfortunately, he's not very well in New York at the moment. His name's Mr. Amit Ertegun, who started Atlantic Records. And anyway, thank you. This one's for you, Amit. Good night.
To pay tribute to the heroes, an up-and-coming rock trio from Australia who, if you shut your eyes and listen to very carefully, sound uncannily like an up-and-coming rock trio from Australia. These guys have got people talking. They've been receiving glowing critical acclaim from all and sundry. Ladies and gentlemen, performing the Led Zeppelin classic, Communication Breakdown. Please howl in delight for the blinding Wolfmother.
Oh,
Wolf Mother, everyone. Or if there's a film in out tonight, Werewolf Mother. With a tribute to Led Zeppelin. Coming up on this stage very shortly, musical greats Brian Wilson and Prince. Plus, Sir George Martin will be receiving honorary membership into the UK Music Hall of Fame from no less a man than the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Gordon Brown, who's also going to be performing a medley of budget speeches. Can't wait for that. It's true. But now it's time to induct our third artist of the evening, Mr. Rod Stewart. To make the presentation, we thought of many a great Scot, Billy Connolly, Sean Connery, Carol Smiley, to name a few, but we plumped in the end for an Englishman with a come-to-bed voice we felt sure Rod would approve of. Although, just in case, he's wearing his Celtic underpants. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the male singer-songwriter, it's okay to like, the mesmerising Mr. James Morris.
Well, it's a real honour for me to be here tonight to pay tribute to the legendary British artist, Mr. Rod Stewart. I was always drawn to unique voices when I was growing up listening to music, and Rod's vocal style was as unique and as distinctive as they come. From his earliest days with the Faces, and then in his solo performer we know and love today, Rod is one of the biggest selling artists in recording history, with over 200 million records sold worldwide. His huge catalogue of hits includes songs that any artist would have been proud of and span nearly half a century. Yet even in recent years, sales of his American songbook albums have equalled those of his former heyday. Let's take a look at an amazing career. He's a legend, you know, like you can't take away what he's done.
Rod actually can take a song and eat it alive.
If there was a white Ray Charles, then it would have been Rod Stewart.
I've woken up on mornings such as this and thought exactly the same as I'm thinking now.
With Rod's voice, there was a kind of gravelly sensitivity and a passion that is very unique.
Well, it sounds like he's been gargling with nails and hasn't slept for a week.
It's not all clean and poppy, it's kind of raw and dirty.
He makes me sick, actually. He can sing like that.
In the morning, don't say you love me, 'cause I'll only kick you out of the door.
When the Faces come out, most of the stuff around, to us, seemed like crap. They had so much character.
That kind of looseness, but great groove.
Stay with me, 'cause tonight you're gonna stay with me.
Every time we got on stage, it was a party. One great big party. That's all it was. It was fantastic.
I'll sing with you. Come on. All night long. Sit on the
If he hadn't done what he did with the Faces, there would have been no punk movement. Now, I don't think he even realises that, but because he did do that, he's a good lad in my book.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you.
I rate Rod as one of the greatest rock songwriters because, I mean, songs like Stay With Me and Maggie May, just brilliant.
Keep you amused, but I feel
He writes songs that are dear to his heart based on what he notices in women and what actually has happened to him.
you stole my heart, but I love you anyway.
He definitely has charisma, like guys will see him and want to be him and girls will see him and want to shag him.
I've seen him wear some interesting outfits. He wasn't afraid to push the boundaries, I suppose.
Variety is what I think people love about Rod. He's very conscious of the changing moods of music. I think he just wants to be a part of it. He's not afraid to join in with change.
He's able to interpret other people's music in his own way, and that's the sign of a great singer.
You must remember this, that kiss is still a kiss, a sigh is still a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
With Songbook, even though they're old established songs, Rod changes them, he makes them part of him. And in some instances, they become new songs because of his stamp and his style and his voice.
Well, he's been around for 4 decades, and I would attribute that to sheer guts and talent.
Ain't nobody gonna stop us now.
Rod should be in the UK Hall of Fame because he's one of the greatest rock and roll singers of all time. That's it.
Unfortunately, Rod can't be here tonight, but we can go over live to LA and hear from him now.
James, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad, congratulations.
Good, you nervous?
A little bit.
A little bit, I thought you were. Well, thank you for that very glittering introduction, and thank you for this great honour of being inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame. I've only got 1 minute to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Long John Baldry, the late Long John Baldry, for discovering me pissed as a fart singing on Twickenham Railway Station. Jeff Beck for allowing me into his band and taking me to the States. And of course my wonderful mates in the Faces who took me into their band, and just a great bunch of guys. Right now I'd like to drink a toast to all of you in the UK. It's only like 1:45 here, but I'm going to have a drink. Good health. And James, you better get ready to sing First Cut is the Deepest. I only met you yesterday, and oh, fuck, drop me. I'm sorry. I only met you yesterday. You sound like a really good guy, and I think you've got a great future, but do me a favour. Give up the fags, mate. It's going to ruin your voice. Okay, I love you all. Thank you so much. Up the hoops. God bless.
Let's do it, everyone. Now then, you know where James is. He is poised, ready with his trusty axe to pay tribute to his hero performing. The First Cut is the Deepest. James Morrison.
This one's for Mr. Rod Stewart.
Taken almost all that I got, but if you wanna try to love again, baby, I try to love again, but I know the first cut is the deepest, baby, I know the first cut is the deepest, 'cause when it comes to being lucky, she's cursed. And when it comes to loving me, she's worse. But when it comes to being loved, she's first. That's how I know the first cut is the deepest. Baby, I know the first cut is the deepest. I still want you by my side, just to help me dry the tears that I've cried. And I'm sure gonna give you a try. And if you wanna try to love again, baby, I try to love again, but I know the first cut is the deepest, baby, I know the first cut is the deepest, 'cause when it comes to being lucky, she's cursed, and when it comes to loving me, she's worth. side, and just to help me dry the tears that I've cried. And I'm sure gonna give you a try. And if you wanna try to love again, baby, I try to love again, but I know, baby, I know the first cut is the deepest. Baby, I know the first cut is the deepest. 'Cause when it comes to being lucky, she's cursed. And when it comes to loving me, she's worse. Oh, but when it comes to being loved, she's first. That's how I know the first cut is the deepest. Baby, I know the first cut is the deepest. Baby, I know. Help me sing it one more time. Nothing hurts like the first time. Oh, yeah. Baby, I know. Hey!
James Morrison, everyone. So Rod Stewart sailed off into the Hall of Fame to be nearest to be free. Still to be inducted tonight, Bon Jovi, Prince and Dusty Springfield. But if you want a clue who's next, I'm getting good vibrations about it. If you don't want a clue, you shouldn't listen to the last bit. Be right back. Welcome back to the UK Music Hall of Fame. Always been a cracking night already. We've seen Rod Stewart, Led Zeppelin and James Brown take their rightful places in the UK Music Hall of Fame. And soon, Bon Jovi, Prince and Sir George Martin, one of Bon Jovi's family here tonight, will take their ranks. But to tell us who's next, please welcome an axe hero in the classic mould, mild-mannered and gentlemanly, who during his years in rock and roll has left many a hotel room neat and tidy and shown many a groupie a good time by teaching them how to play chess. Please welcome one quarter of last year's inductees Pink Floyd, Mr. David Gilmour.
Good evening. The first band I actually formed when I was a young lad was with some like-minded souls from my hometown. We wanted to sing harmony, and the harmony we wanted to sing was Beach Boys harmony. And that love of singing harmony remains with me today. And the man who's the main inspiration for that love is the man we're honoring here tonight, Mr. Brian Wilson. Even in those very early days of the Beach Boys, songs like In My Room and Don't Worry Baby were giving indications that Brian Wilson wanted to paint with a much more colourful palette than was offered by the surf music that he was so adept at. His brilliance leapt from strength to strength over a very short period. In a little over 4 years, he mastered the arts of songwriting, record production, and orchestral arrangements, and every form of studio trickery, to culminate with the wonderful songs on Pet Sounds like Good Vibrations, Heroes and Villains, and the sublime Surf's Up. These last three were, of course, intended for his legendary Smile project that was finally completed and released in 2004, nearly 40 years after its inception. Shall we watch a little film?
Our leader, Brian Wilson, on the bass.
Brian was the presiding genius who was manipulating, writing and directing everything.
Brian was miles ahead of everybody, not just the Beach Boys. Brian was ahead of everybody who was making records anywhere.
So many wonderful songs, so many absolute exquisite recordings.
Round, round, get around, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around. It's a chord progression matched with a fabulous melody plus incredible lyrics. So that's 1, 2, 3 strikes.
The genius of his music is the joy that's in it.
Some of his greatest work is when it touches on the most innocent of human feelings.
For I have the warmth of the sun.
It's done by somebody with great sensitivity and love of life, I think.
Brian was kind of like the director of the film. Not only did he write the songs, but then he sat in the studio and told people what to play.
He would get in, use the elbow grease to sit down and play the instrument and say, this is how it's done, this is what I'm looking for.
Just like he heard it in his head, that's the way he wanted to get it. And he would sit there until he got it that way.
The Beach Boys were releasing album after album of top 10, top 5 hits. And gradually, I think Brian moved away from the brutal simplicity of that and wanted to move into something that he found much more artistic and possibly longer lasting.
Pet Sounds was the definitive turning point in Brian Wilson's musical experience because it's when he emerged as a person.
It's one of those records that you listen to and you think, you know, I wouldn't change a single thing about this.
With Pet Sounds in particular, John and Paul were knocked out by what he was doing. Can we do better than that? And that spurred them on too.
I know that Brian believes in angels. I do too. But you only have to listen to the string arrangement on God Only Knows for fact and proof of angels.
It was a small step in terms of technique to jump from Pet Sounds to Smile. But in terms of the musical result, it's an awesome chasm to leap.
I feel for him. At the time, it must have been daunting to play this group of lads who've just come off the road, these incredible songs and this new direction that he was going to take the band in. It must have been difficult.
He just couldn't hide what he had inside.
He took rock and roll from black and white to Technicolor.
He's created music that is classic. It just gets better with age.
His influence and his genius has been an immense source of inspiration for me.
He is a survivor, and I think that his music is surviving along with him. I think we'll be talking about Brian Wilson and listening to his music for many years to come.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a true genius, Brian Wilson.
It's an honor to be inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame. I love my British fans. I've been coming here for over 40 years, and every time I come back, I get more and more love from my fans. And thank you so much for the award.
Okay, Brian's in position, which is my cue to simply say, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Wilson.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it, or make you so sure about it. And God only knows what I'd be without you. If you should ever leave me, well, life will still go on, believe me. The
ladies and gentlemen. Want some good vibes? I love the colorful clothes she wears and the way the sunlight plays upon her head. I hear the sound of her gentle word on the wind that lifts her perfume through the air. I'm picking up good vibration. She's giving me the excitation. I'm picking up good vibration. She's giving me the excitation. I'm picking up good vibration. She's giving me the excitation. I'm picking up good vibration. She's giving me the excitation. She's somehow closer now. Softly smile, I know she must be kind. When I look in her eyes, she goes with me to a blossom world. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitation. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitation. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitation. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitation. Everybody clap. Vibrations are happening with her. Gotta keep those loving vibrations are happening with her. Gotta keep those loving.
incredible Brian Wilson, a rock and roll survivor if ever there was one. Still to be inducted tonight, Dusty Springfield, Bon Jovi and Sir George Martin. Whatever you do, don't embark on a drug-fueled journey into the dark recesses of your mind during the break, or you'll miss out. Have a cup of tea instead. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. 4 legendary artists have already taken their coveted places in the UK Music Hall of Fame tonight, but there's still room for 4 more. I think the next one might be quite popular. To induct our next artist, 2 supremely talented individuals who have recently joined forces to form a new band, Platinum Weird. The first is one of the most innovative people in the business who shot to fame as part of Eurythmics and who has since worked with just about anyone who is anyone. The second is America's most sought-after songwriter, a woman who's written hits for Christina Aguilera, Kylie, Gwen Stefani, and Carlos Santana, to name but a few. She must be absolutely loaded. It's an Anglo-American union that has no intention of invading anywhere other than this very stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dave Stewart and Cara Diaguardi.
Good evening. The term supergroup is bandied around all too easily these days, but few really deserve it. Those that do, though, have earned the title by, time and time again, producing truly great records and giving the performance that lives in people's memories forever. Bon Jovi are one of those few. Their unique blend of rock and pop saw them rise above the crowd in the 80s to become a force to be reckoned with. The fact that they have stayed at the top of the tree for almost a quarter of a century in what is notoriously a fickle business is testament to their ability to make timeless, earth-shattering songs that their huge army of fans simply can't get enough of.
As a songwriter myself, I know how difficult it can be to find the heart of a song, the part that grabs people by the scruff of the neck and makes them sit up and take notice. You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, Wanted Dead or Alive, Bad Medicine are all great songs recognized by people in America, Asia, Australia, and of course, here in the UK. Take a look at this.
60 to 80,000 people everywhere in the world want to come and see this band play.
They're huge, absolutely massive. They do rock to the max.
I don't think people realize they are one of the best rock bands in history.
When you go to a concert, you see everybody around you singing the words and moving with the music, and they appreciate it really at a very gut level.
Everything is perfection. The lights, the sound, the staging. Everything is geared towards giving the fans an energy to take home with them. There's something special that happens when John and Richie get together to write a song.
It's all about the meeting of muscle and melody.
Bon Jovi song's got about 3 or 4 hooks to it.
It's a huge power chorus, which we all sing along to, and know the words to immediately.
It must build and build, and then you get the payoff, and you just go, yeah.
They're just good quality, well-crafted hit singles.
Just sounds so good when 40, 60, 80,000 people sing along to it.
They're just, good-looking guys, the bastards.
As soon as John turns around and ladies get a chance just to look at his ass, you just hear this massive ooh. It's just like, ooh.
He looks great, and that helps. That brings in the girls. But there's substance behind all the gloss.
There's no better drummer than Tico, Dave's the best keyboard player. And John is a great singer.
John is an incredible frontman. he just runs all over that stage.
He drives the crowd nuts.
My heart is like the open highway. Well, Frankie said I did it my way.
Then you've got Sambora, the driving firehouse, the power engine of the band.
Every singer needs a foil. Mick's got Keith, Bowie had Ronson, John's got Richie Sambora.
They have been doing this for so long and just absolutely slaying crowds all over the world for 25 years.
They're still selling as many records, if not more records, than they ever did.
So John, Richie, Tico, and Dave, congratulations on this great honor. You've made some wonderful music together. All of us look forward to the next 20 years of Bon Jovi, and I personally am grateful for your friendship.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bon Jovi.
Oh, thank you so much. It's hard to thank everybody, but you have to thank your mentors, people who taught you how to do it, people like the Beatles, Mr. George Martin, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, taught me how to songwrite, taught me how to produce records and all that stuff, our families for dealing with us, our rigorous touring schedule, but most of all, our fans. For sticking with us through the strange cyclic cycles of the music business, but also the honor to get up with these guys right here. No bullshit. It's the best thing in the world. Thanks, everybody. And it's John. What can I say? Mr. John Bon Jovi.
Thank you. Every kid wants to be in a rock band. Every rock band wants to make a record. Every guy that ever had that dream and then that opportunity wishes someday to have left some kind of a legacy. You've blessed us with that opportunity. I can't even look out into the audience and see George and Jimmy and Prince and Mr. Brown without just wanting to choke up and cry because I just sat like in the mirror like every other kid with a guitar and had a dream. Thanks for the dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, all that remains for me to say is Bon Jovi.
On the docks, they hear you on the strike, he's down on his luck. It's tough, so tough. Gina worked down the road, yes she does. Working for a man, she brings on the paper love, for his love, for love. Say we gotta hold on to what we got. Doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, that's a lot for love. Give it a shot, oh, we're halfway there. Take my hand, make it, I swear, yeah. Time to feel this six string. to make it talk so tough, so tough. But Gina dreams are running away. Yes, she does. When she cries every night, time and whispers, baby, it's okay. Someday they say we gotta hold on to what we got. Doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, that's a lot for love. Give her a shot, oh, we're halfway there. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. It's all the same. Oh, it needs a change every day. It seems we're wasting away. Another place where the days are so cold. Drive all night to get back home. I'm a cowboy in the steel those eyes, wanted, dead or alive, wanted, dead or alive. Times I sleep, times are not the days. People I meet come and go separate ways. Times you tell the day by the bottle that you drink. Times when you're alone, all you do is think. I'm a cowboy, the steel those eyes, wanted, dead or alive, wanted, dead or alive. Yeah. This ain't a song for them broken hearted. A silent prayer for a 50 party. Well, I ain't gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout out. It's my life, it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live my life. My heart is like an open highway. My friend said I did it my way. And I wanna live that I'm alive. It's my life. This is for ones who stood their ground. For Tommy and Gina who never backed down.
Come on, JOVI. Coming up, Dusty Springfield, Prince and Sir George Martin will be inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame. That's the world ends during the break. I expect to see you back here when we return. See you then. Now, what do all of tonight's inductees so far have in common? They're all a little species-specific, somewhat lacking in the womb department. In short, they're all fellas. So, I think it's time we started to redress the balance. What are you saying, sisters? By inducting a woman, and what a woman. No less than the great Dusty Springfield. To get the ball rolling with her personal tributes, would you please welcome a soul legend who's been singing her heart out for nearly 50 years, one of Dusty's closest friends and the original Lady Marmalade, Miss Patti LaBelle.
Don't you see that now? Oh, now you've gone, and I'm left here on my own. Then I have to follow you and beg you to come home. You don't have to say you love me just because you don't have to stay forever. I will understand. Believe me, I can't help but love you. But believe me, I'll never tie you down. No! Left alone with just a memory. Life seems dead and so unreal. All that's left is loneliness. There's nothing left to feel. Oh, you don't have to say you love me just because you don't have to stay forever. I will understand. Believe me, oh, come on, believe me, oh, you don't have to say you love me just because you don't have to stay forever. I will understand. Believe me, why don't you? Yes, believe me. Oh,
Yikes, what a voice. Thank you very much, Patti. Now to induct Dusty into the UK Music Hall of Fame, please welcome the youngest woman ever to top the UK album chart. She sold millions worldwide, making her alongside cheddar cheese, one of Britain's most popular exports, is the gorgeous Joss Stone.
Okay, hello. How you doing? All right, so earlier tonight we heard from the brilliant James Brown, who amongst his vast back catalogue includes a song, It's a Man's World. Well, once upon a time it was, but every so often a woman comes along who is so talented and determined, the men have to sit up and take notice. Dusty Springfield was one such woman, a complete perfectionist with an incredible ear for music. She took control in recording sessions, and in the studio wouldn't let anybody leave until she was 100% satisfied. More than anyone, she took a song and made it her own, pouring her heart and soul into it, so that her performance was as intense as it was exhilarating. I and many of my contemporaries owe her so much. When she died in 1999, the world mourned one of the most beautiful singers that there ever really was. It's the truth. It's the truth. I think we should remind ourselves just how amazing she really was.
There is only one Dusty Springfield. Who is second to Dusty Springfield? There's nobody.
She was one soulful lady.
You gotta give me some of your loving. You gotta give me some of your loving.
A perfect voice, full of yearning, full of soul.
Dusty would take you to another world. You could feel and sense the emotion.
Come on back to me.
A tenderness that sort of resonated sexual vulnerability without being nasty.
It's a very husky vocal that can scale unexpected musical heights. She was able to push her voice to its limits.
A lot of people glide up to the notes or slide down to them, but she hit them like hitting a gong with a mallet, you know.
She had that sort of rasp. She almost had a black sound or something.
You couldn't tell that she was Irish. You couldn't tell that she had a Catholic background. You would think she had visited a few Baptist churches with the soul and the spirit that she sang a lot of her songs with.
Billy Ray was a preacher's son, and when his daddy would visit, he called.
I think the difference between Dusty and the other British divas is that she had some variation of soul in her voice that they didn't have. I've called her the Queen of White Soul.
Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man.
She made songs believable. And that's, to me, what soul music is.
Once she hit the stage, it was just sheer magic. It was absolutely stunning.
Calling out around the world, are you ready for a brand new beat?
I don't think she felt comfortable expressing herself in any other way. And music gave her that release.
She became this thing that she always wanted to be on stage. You know, she said she was always the most comfortable there. That is so inspirational.
Every guy, grab your girl, everywhere around the world they'll be dancing, yeah. They're dancing in the street.
When you stand alone and the distance between you and your nearest competitor is light years, that makes you very, very estimable.
It's saying so much more than just words could ever say.
There was no put-ons. There was no errors. She was just Dusty, and she was real, and I thought very highly of her.
We've shared some wonderful times together, and I'll always remember her fondly with a smile on my face. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman.
She will always be in our consciousness and presence, and missed. I miss her. Everybody misses her. Dusty is Dusty.
To
accept the award on behalf of the late, great Dusty Springfield, please welcome back Patti LaBelle and a great friend of Dusty's, Nona Hendrix.
Hey, everybody. I would like to say something really fast. And my manager, my ex-manager, Vicki Wickham, wrote the song for Dusty years ago. After Dusty recorded it, she said, "Patti, you must record this song." Tonight was my first time singing it, but it won't be my last. Trust me.
I also want to say Dusty was inspired by the black music that was coming from America, but I also want to say that we were inspired by Dusty, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Yardbirds. They inspired us as well, and it was a cross-fertilization of music. So thank you very much. I'm very honored to pick up this award for Dusty, who I loved dearly. She could drive you mad, but she could sing like nobody else.
Patti LaBelle and Nona Hendrix, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to them. But we couldn't let Josh go without hearing us sing. It'd be a terrible crime, especially as, of course, he's such a huge fan of Dusty's. So, with a tribute to tonight's 6th inductee, please welcome back the fantastic pair of lungs, otherwise known as Miss Joss Stone.
Kiss and tell me everything is alright. Kiss and tell me everything is alright. Can he get away again tonight? The only boy who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Ooh, yes, he was. How well I remember the look that was in his eyes. Stealing kisses from me on the side, taking time to make time, telling me that he's all mine, running from each other, nowhere, looking to see how much we've grown. And the only boy who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. So yes, he was. He was. Ooh, yes, he was. The only boy who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. Was the sweet talking son of a preacher man. Said the only boy who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. Was the son of a preacher man. Said what the only boy was the sweet talking son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me. Son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was the only boy who could ever reach me. Was the son of a preacher man.
Sure made Trevor Nelson's night. Love the way the guys in the front row as well, when she walked past, we're going to go, oh. Yes, very nice song. You dirty old man. One of the greatest songs in the world, that, and I'll fight anyone that says otherwise. Okay, as sure as and roll follows rock, our 7th inductee follows our 6th. And to make the presentation, a woman who's achieved the ultimate in superstar cred, being known by just one name. Up there with the likes of Madonna, Bono, and Kermit. Thanks. Please go crazy in love for the brilliant and beautiful Beyonce.
I am deeply honored to be inducting the incredible Prince into the UK Music Hall of Fame. So many words spring to mind when describing him. Multi-talented, innovative, genius, exceptional, groundbreaking, passionate, unique, out of this world, and extraordinary. Somehow he manages to bring together elements of pop, funk, soul, folk, rock, classical music, and others, and manages to meld them together. His output over the last quarter of a century has been quite phenomenal. Hit album has followed hit album, and he's even found time to pick up an Oscar along the way, as well as writing songs for the likes of Sinead O'Connor, Sheryl Crow, Kate Bush, and Shaka Khan. And as for his live performances, they are legendary, unbelievable spectacles that live in the memory forever. If he were British, he would definitely be king by now. Let's take a look at a remarkable career.
This guy is unbelievable.
He's experimental. He is for sure an original. He's mischievous.
He just has it all.
He's this incredible pop star.
He plays bass, drums,
guitar, any and all keyboard instruments.
No one plays more instruments than this dude.
He could play a little sax if he wanted to.
He plays all of his instruments better than all the people in his band.
And he sings. He's genius. He really is genius.
He was the king to be. You know, he was the heir apparent.
For a generation, he has changed the sound of music.
Prince has a sound in his head and does whatever he can to achieve that sound.
He really gets into the process of creating something new.
He is great at taking the white guitar sound and putting it with a black bass line.
He knows how to take the best of everything and shake it up, and there it is.
You know, it was this hybrid sound that, you know, not only America, but the rest of the world had never heard before. And we've all been blown away ever since.
Prince does whatever his insides tell him to do as an artist.
He needed people of different ethnicities, different tastes, different ears and abilities to achieve that goal, and he did it brilliantly.
Everything that guy touched was just incredible.
Prince doesn't stick to formulas, man. Every time he has gambled on his instinct and decided for himself his artistic direction.
He's passionate, and it shows in his work. It shows in the amount of work he has, and it shows in the quality of the work.
Even putting his shows together, he knows exactly what he wants to do.
He thinks about the clothing. He thinks about the stage show. He thinks about how he's going to dance, where he's going to move. When you see him live, you see the dedication, the conviction, and the work that he puts into his craft.
He's always working, and you
sometimes you ask yourself, well, when does he sleep?
He has so much music within him that is just bursting. It's just like he has to release the sound that God has given him.
A person of his abilities and his imagination will always have something new to offer.
He's been an inspiration for many people. And I believe he's an inspiration for generations to come.
And we really thank God for Prince.
He will continue to make great records as long as he wants to. A man like that cannot be stopped.
Prince, the most amazing performer I have ever witnessed. He gives the best parties in Hollywood, probably in the world, and I know I'm missing a great one tonight. I wish I was there. I just think it's splendid that they're honoring you in England. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the incomparable Prince.
I try to always take time to thank God for the many blessings that He's bestowed in my life, because I do think of my life as a blessing, and one of the reasons is because I grew up at a time when you could hear James Brown, Santana, Jimi Hendrix, Sly and the Family Stone all on the same stage. That was before consolidation. These days, when I meet young artists, I try to hip them to the words of Joni Mitchell and the tightness of Tower Power and arrangements of Earth, Wind and Fire. And basically, the gift of music does come from God, and the sooner we respect it as such, I think we'll get back to another golden age. I'm so thankful that I got to see Patti LaBelle tonight, and Beyonce, of course. I'm a little nervous because I don't like speaking. I'd rather play. I wish my band was here, but we're working in Las Vegas now. You're all invited, 3121. I want to thank everybody for this. It's indeed an honor. Good night.
The majestic Prince. I dare say after the show we'll be partying like it's 2006. After the break we'll be inducting one of the greatest producers in the world, a jewel in Britain's crown, Sir George Martin. Don't miss it. Okay, the UK Music Hall of Fame is nearly reaching its capacity for 2006, but there's still, thank you, still time to squeeze in one more legend. This year's recipient of the Honorary Membership Award, given to someone whose work behind the scenes has made a huge contribution to the music industry. To make the presentation, the recipient asked for one of his great friends to come along tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man that gave the Bank of England operational independence in monetary policy, thus responsibility for setting interest rates, Gordon Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, George Martin is the most amazing man, and I am proud to be able to present him this evening. Did you know that George Martin was born in the 1930s, that he was brought up as the son of an unemployed carpenter, that he fought in the Second World War in the Fleet Air Reserve, that his first production was not in music, but it was in voice, where he recorded the voices of Peter Sellers and Spike Milligan, that his first #1 hit was the Temperance 7, and they were neither 7 because they were 9, and they were not very temperate either. And then in 1962, even after every major producer rejected the Beatles, and one producer said that groups with guitars had no future, George Martin made the Beatles the most successful group in history. And with the Beatles, and then all the Mersey beat, George was the architect of the most creative period in music that this country has seen. And just think, his father said to George that he had no future in music and he'd be better off training to be a civil servant. I spoke to Paul McCartney this afternoon, and Paul McCartney said, this great man, George Martin, the great creative genius of our time, self-made, self-taught, he worked his way up. He is a national icon. He is a great British national institution. Salute George Martin, the great global success of Britain in our age, and I am proud that he is the greatest music producer of our time. Let's have a look at what he's done.
Your average man in the street probably may not know who George Martin is.
I knew he was one of the greatest, if not the greatest producer in the world.
George Martin is really the ultimate guy behind the guys.
We had a great musical ear all the time. He found all these other writers and he'd bring songs in and we could say, no, we want to do Lennon and McCartney. But every one he brought in was a hit for other people.
How do you do what you do to me?
He produced Jerry and the Pacemakers and Rolf Harris.
He recorded Matt Monroe.
From Russia with love.
I had every faith in George Martin.
What's it all about?
If I had a third arm, he was that third arm.
I thought I knew most of what he did, but I just keep being thrown wobblies.
You know, Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas. The list is endless. But very much before he went into pop music, he was big into comedy records.
George saw that there was a crossover between comedy and disc. Sound was so important to George. He must have been looking for something new that can be created orally, that doesn't, you know, the performers are all great, they can do their stuff. What can he add to it?
It has been a hard day's night.
Comedy records, like Peter Sellers, you know, they kind of were comedy records as opposed to just gimmick records.
He's done Nelly the Elephant.
Nelly the Elephant went and packed her trunk and said goodbye to the... And from that to picture yourself in a barn on a river.
With tangerine trees and marmalade sky.
And with the equipment they had in those days, I mean, 2 4-track machines. I mean, that's incredible.
They couldn't have had a better guy near them than George Martin, you know, whose eclectic knowledge of music and how to put it on wax was so vast.
There was this kind of coming together, and it would have been guided, piloted, steered, and at the wheel was George.
Something in the way she moves.
He actually just controlled the whole situation. So he was the man between the band and the tape.
He was always wanting to explore into trumpets and orchestras, and nobody had done that before with modern music.
On the strings, and just say, oh yes, that's A. You know, he could write it down.
To take some acid vision and turn it into actual score, you know, that takes real talent.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to...
The sort of the swishing cymbals, which is all limiting. The backwards vocals, the backwards guitar, that kind of stuff had never been done before.
Yeah, well, can't we plug in there? And I say, oh, let me think. And he'd go away and do it. And then we'd plug in, make that noise, and George would get it down.
You know, when I listen to the Beatles records now, yesterday, tomorrow, I will be listening to those records, and I am amazed at just how great they sound. Still.
You're the performer, he's the one in the dark behind the big window. You know, you're the one in the light with the microphone, and so he can work with virtually anybody.
Oh, sweet, sweet Chimbley, sweet. It was a lovely experience working with him because I knew he was a very competent man. His approach on doing something is well thought out. I don't think he does things by chance.
I didn't feel like he was producing me. First, he did an amazing job, and I don't ever think it can get any better than that. I was just overwhelmed.
He has extraordinary depth of knowledge. And just the man for the job, you know.
Just a charming gentleman with a whole lot of talent.
George Martin is so important to me that I spend about 3 hours every day thinking about where we can find the next one.
He really knows his stuff. He's really musical, and he's a beautiful human being.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sir George Martin, welcome him to honorary membership of the UK Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, what a great honor this is. What a tremendous honor. And what a great honor to be presented with this by the Chancellor of the Exchequer, one of our great statesmen. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
very much.
Thank you very much.
You know, I never realized I was as good as all that. In fact, I'm not, to be honest. This is hyperbole, so ignore it. But I'll tell you, I'll let you into a secret, because I think the reason I'm here today is that I've been a very lucky man, and I have worked with the greatest people in show business. Great singers, great writers, great performers of all kinds, actors as well. And it rubs off, you know. And working with people like that makes all the difference in the world. And there's another thing that has helped me to be where I am, and that's a simple word called love. Now, I'm not plugging the next Beatle record, but I must tell you that my family always gave my sister and myself a great deal of love as we were growing up. And now I have an extended family of my wife, my dear wife, and children and grandchildren. And they all support me with their love. I couldn't do it without it. And so thank you, my loves, for all that you've done. And thank you. And thank you all, too.
Okay. Congratulations to Sir George and all of tonight's inductees in the UK Music Hall of Fame. I trust you'll agree it's been a great night. Hope you've enjoyed it, which I'm guessing is going to continue now in various clubs around London. I'm told Gordon Brown is on one and looking for some action. Probably end up brawling in the car park with Prince. Come here, you. To play us out with 3 Beatles classics, we've put together a dizzying array of superstars for a never-to-be-repeated one-off performance. Playing with a 31-piece orchestra and the London Community Gospel Choir are on drums, Queen's Roger Taylor. On guitar, the biggest thing to come out of Sweden since saunas, Jose Gonzalez. And on vocals, new soul sensation Corinne Bailey-Rae and Razorlight's Johnny Burrell. But at the helm, the man that arranged and put it all together, the genius that is Sir George Martin. We will see you next year. God bless. Good night.
Once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry. And I will sing a lullaby.